when we were in Mitchell, South Dakota, we of course went to the Corn Palace and we went to Cabela's, and then we walked down and went to the Pincushion, which is this cute little quilt shop. I loved the shop. It was so, I don't know, bright and happy, which a lot of them are, bright and colorful, but this one just seemed like a happy little place. It's not huge, but it's not tiny either. Great selection of fabrics, really friendly people. Despite the fact that there were a couple things that were going on that people were busy with, they were very nice to answer any questions we had and to make sure we didn't need anything. We didn't feel ignored at all. They have Tilda fabrics, they had Cave fabrics. I'm trying to remember, there was a whole section that we'll see here pretty soon that is Lori Holt. Right there you can see there's a bunch of Lori Holt stuff. There's embroidery thread, there's her simple pieces for doing applique. And the fabric that I ended up picking from here, when you see it and the business card, the two of those, to me, it just looks exactly how this shop felt. I would definitely go here again. There, isn't that just sweet and cute? Irresistible. Now, when we got to Wyoming, we went to Fort Bridger. One of the main reasons we wanted to stop at Fort Bridger was my husband's family went there on their way to or from a family reunion that was back in Iowa in 1979. Keith was a young boy at the time, and of course, Jim Bridger and anything Old West and the Pony Express were things that were very exciting to him. So he loved Fort Bridger and he wanted to go there, and I'd never been there. There's not a whole lot of places that he'd been that I hadn't. And so it was fun to go there and see the fort, but then there's this great quilt shop. And the thing that was funny was Keith's family was here in 1979, and that's the year this shop opened. Charlotte opened this shop in 1979, and she and her daughter, Bobby Jo, still own and run this shop today. We got to see both of them. Got to chat a little bit with Bobby Jo. Really nice gal. This shop it's big. It's a good size shop. And they have each of the little sections set up for seasonal fabric, holiday fabrics with all the cute little displays. I love the way the demos are done in the shop. It seems like it has a higher ratio of project demos than most shops. I might be wrong about that, but it just seemed like there was little quilts and big quilts and purses and pin cushions and just things everywhere to make. I love those little gnomes. They're so cute. Lots of printed cuddle fabrics and minky fabrics, which aren't really a thing over here, so I didn't really even know those existed. And every time you go into a quilt shop, there's usually a quilt or two that you don't like. It's just not your style. It's not your color choice or whatever. This shop, although it has everything in there from modern to reproduction to Western fabrics to, children's anything, I don't think there was anything in the shop that I didn't like. It's just beautiful. I think we spent a good bit of time in the shop, and I could easily have spent a lot more. This was a fantastic stop, and if you are anywhere near Fort Bridger in Lyman, Wyoming, I would highly recommend stopping at the shop and plan on spending a little while. It takes a while to see everything. So on our most recent travels, I realized that we were not going to have, or very possibly weren't going to have power, and so I wasn't going to be able to take my sewing machine, but I wanted to still work on a project, so I needed a hand project. So I chose, this is called On the Fence by Deanne Eisenman. This is from the summer 2015 Primitive Quilts and Projects magazine. There's probably a better picture of what this looks like, or how it's supposed to look like, how it was originally designed. I think it's really cute. My biggest problem was I wanted something that was square and not rectangular, so that it would fit in a particular spot in my house. So I have modified how I'm doing this. I decided I was going to go with 3 fence sections instead of 5. And that's my little scribblings to try to figure out how I wanted to make the vines and the flowers work. I didn't have time to film all the prep before we left, but I did the SF 101 on the back like I like to do. The one time that I had done an applique project without it, I just felt like the fabric was too likely to pucker, and that works really well for keeping it good and firm while I'm working on it without a hoop and on the go. So I do have my other pieces. So I'm gonna come over here. Prepped. So I have lots of different leaves and centers for flowers, and there's my little black-eyed Susans, I think is what those are supposed to be, and they're the little posy flowers. So I've got, and these are the centers for the little flowers. So just traced around those, again, like the Sarah Fielke method of doing applique, where you trace around it with the silver pen, and then you press the edges and needle turn, which is what I like to do. And as you can see, I've made good progress. The tricky part was where I need to go, you know, one section first and another section, because like this I needed the stem to go over the fence, but over here it's going to go under.
So I had to do this part of the stem and then stop and leave that open so that I could get that out of the way while I was doing this. And the next one, you know, I made myself a note to remember to leave that open because I have stems coming out there, which I'll have to finish prepping. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out so far, and I think it will look really cute in the spot that I have for my house. And I know that, I don't know why, I just always seem to alter a pattern. There always seems to be something about it that I want to change. So anyway, it's kind of fun to do, kind of makes it my own. And that's the progress that I've made on this so far. I have the stems so far that I've done stitched down. I have 2 more to do, a little one here and one across there, and I haven't decided if I'm doing a little one here for a flower or not. So a little more work on the stems. I want to get this fence section done next, and then I'm gonna have to place my flowers and figure out exactly, because I kind of roughly did it when I was setting this up, but I didn't do an exact placement. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'll try to do a better job of doing in progress videos while we're not traveling and we're at home. It's nice to have something to work on when I'm just not feeling up to doing too much other thinking, or if there's something where we're sitting in a spot for a while but I don't necessarily have power, doctor's office or whatever. A lot of fun to have a hand project. Have a great day. Okay, just a little more progress. Got the little star on the top of the flag area, and I have laid out the rest of my stems. Some of it I can't glue down until I've done other pieces, so I have to do a little bit of this green here, and then I have to fold that under and do that edge. And I need to do this bit of green here before I can tack down that part, so. But I'm making progress. So sometimes things just don't go like you want them to. I got my stem here stitched. I went around, I was just about done here, and then I realized I stitched it all to this. So now I have to take out all of this. So now I've actually been working on some of the prep work that normally I would have gotten done that I didn't ahead of time, just because I wanted these fence posts to be clear and not have other things on them when I was stitching them. So I didn't put the flowers and stuff on right away. I just wanted to get the fence post and the stems done first. So now I'm actually getting my flowers placed. You can see how, of course, I started with the outline. I have the silver pencil line around it, and now I'm gluing them down. I've actually used my Roxanne's Base Stick glue to hold them in place. And this is nice because it will wash out easily, and I could pull it off and reposition it if I didn't like where it's positioned. But it also holds it really well, so I can easily take this with me. It's very portable, and I can just work on it as I go. And so I put this down a little bit ago. I think these have all dried. Normally you would take the paper off first. I just kind of left the paper on to help guide easier when I was putting these together, because I did want a little tiny bit of overlap, but very little. So that just kind of gave me a guide. And then my little butterfly. The centers I've done with the foil around the circles and the oval to make it easier to make those shapes without having to fuss with them a lot. And I probably won't put those on until I get these done either. So anyway, that's where I'm at as far as prep work and continuing progress. I did get all the stems stitched last night, got that finished, which was nice. And now we're on to just getting it ready so I can take it with me again when I have more time, or if I'm just sitting in the evening and I don't feel like getting up and going to the sewing machine or any of that sort of thing. And it's just nice to have hand stitching. I found that very relaxing to do, which is funny because I used to hate it, but now I love it. So that's where I'm at.